If I ask you to name the first FPS game, what would you say? Probably Doom? Well, Doom was released in 1993, but that wasn't even the first FPS game of the 90s. Wolfenstein 3D was released a year earlier, and is often credited with creating the FPS genre. But that isn't entirely accurate. Sure, these games may have played a pivotal role in putting the genre on the map, and some even claim that every FPS in the 90s was a Doom clone. But in reality, both of these games were late to the party. The first successfully marketed FPS was an arcade game called Battlezone, which was developed by Atari. The game was released in 1980, 12 years before Wolfenstein hit the shelf. Battlezone put players in a tank and tasked them with dodging missiles and destroying enemy tanks. The game had a similar concept to Space Invaders, but added the ever-important three-dimensional factor. While Battlezone can be attributed with the first FPS to hit the markets, it still was not the first video game to feature this concept. Technically, the first FPS was developed as part of a student project in the early 70s. It was a group of high school students involved in a NASA work-study program. Once in college, the group expanded upon the game, and it pioneered many of the features that have become synonymous in first-person shooters today. They called it Maze War. To truly understand how remarkable this was, let's go back to the early days of gaming. In the 1970s, the idea of interactive computer graphics was still in its infancy. However, this group of talented students, including Greg Thompson, Steve Colley, and Howard Palmer, wanted to push the boundaries of what was possible. They weren't trying to change the direction of gaming for the next 50 years. They simply created the project as a demonstration of their computer programming skills. But unbeknownst to them, they were leaving a lasting impact on the video game industry for generations to come. The game allowed players to navigate a simple maze from a first-person perspective. Players would control a disembodied eye through a series of mazes as they fend off various enemies. But what made it truly groundbreaking was the use of vector graphics. This created a 3D-like environment, a concept that was unheard of at the time. But here's the real kicker. Maze War wasn't just a single-player experience. This group of students incorporated a multiplayer mode that allowed players to connect to the same computer and compete against each other. 30 years before you had a Halo LAN party, these high school students were playing against each other in a game they created on a whim. This was a revolutionary step towards the future of gaming interactions. However, despite the groundbreaking innovation, Maze War never actually made its way to consumers. The impact of Maze War, however, was profound. It introduced the concept of first-person perspective gameplay, setting the stage for the FPS genre. The game laid down the groundwork for titles like Wolfenstein and Doom, shaping the trajectory of gaming history. Despite being created by high school students, Maze War left an enduring legacy. It showcased the potential of interactive 3D environments and multiplayer gaming. The innovation displayed in its early project paved the way for the immersive and competitive FPS experiences we enjoy today. Nearly 40 years since the first-person shooter Maze War introduced the concept to the world, FPS games have conquered the gaming market. More than just a simple genre, the FPS gives players an intimate perspective and puts them in the actual shoes of their avatar. ID Software cemented the FPS with its excellent Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake franchises, but even they stood on the shoulders of other giants. And there you have it, the incredible story of Maze War and how a group of high school students inadvertently started the first-person shooter revolution. What are your thoughts on this pioneering game? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming history content.